Hello all, welcome to Clark Technologies. So as part of this networking and AWS networking, VPC and all, so far we have discussed a lot many things related to the basics, IP addresses, IP4, what is IP4, IP version 4, IP version 6, and what is public private IP addresses, what is VPC, what is subnets, what is NAT gateway, and the internet gateway. So we have discussed a lot of these things so far. But those videos I have explained in Telugu for basics learning purpose of Telugu audience. Now, as this is the demo, in this video we will be creating a VPC practically in AWS. Okay. Now we can see how we can do this so that as this is the demo, this will be useful for everyone. I will be creating this in English language. Okay. So I hope this will help you. So let's get started. Yeah, so I logged in AWS console with root account. If you can see, I already told you how to check it is root account or IAM user in the previous video. So this is a root account. I have just logged in. So to create the VPC in the services here, you need to check for VPC. Okay, see this is isolated cloud resources. Within VPC, inside the VPC, if you put any EC2 instances or any servers inside the VPC, this will be isolated from other public virtual machines or servers or services. Just like there is no contact inside this private cloud with this EC2 instances. There will be no contact with public EC2 instances or virtual machines or whatever. That is called isolated. Even in Corona time, we heard this, right? These people who affected by Corona should be in isolation for 14 days, and also there should be no contact outside. So just for a real-time example, I explained that. Okay, so let's click on VPC. So inside the VPC, right. So inside the VPC, if you can see, a VPC will contain lot of subtopics, which we have most of them, which we have already discussed. So I am in Mumbai region. In this Mumbai region, we have 3 availability zones. It seems, if I am not wrong, let me just check. Okay, let me just check. We can see that in the home page. We can check how many availability zones we have. Just do one thing. Okay, that's okay without wasting time here. Let's assume that there are 3 availability zones. Yeah, here it will show you somewhere. South one, see Kolkata, Delhi, and somewhere. Yeah, see here in Asia Pacific Mumbai region, we have 3 different availability zones or 3 different data centers. 1A, 1B, 1C. This is what I want to show you. That will take that. I mean, that took some time. That's okay. So we have 3 different availability zones. Usually, to create VPC. Okay, inside the VPC, we will be creating these subnets also, right? So those subnets, usual practice will be you should have one public subnet and one private subnet in each region due to accommodate that high availability. Okay, so we have already discussed about high availability. So to give you high availability, each and every region should have one public each and every availability zone, not the region, each and every availability zone inside the region should have at least one private subnet and one public subnet. That is the best practices you need to do. Okay, coming to VPC components, see you have one VPC here, subnets and NAT gateways. Few concepts we have already discussed in our theory classes. Route tables, network ACLs, this is nothing but NACLs, which we have already discussed. Security groups, internet gateways, these things we have discussed, but few things we didn't discuss. This egress only internet gateways and elastic IP addresses, these we didn't discuss. We will discuss this later. So as of now, let's try to understand what are the concepts we have learned so far theoretically in a practical way. Okay, so to do that, you need to click on create VPC, and here, okay, here while creating this VPC, you will be having two options. One is VPC only, so it will create only VPC. You have to create subnets, route tables, and everything manually. Instead of that, if you can select this VPC and more, it will automatically create a subnets and route tables for you. At least in two availability zones, you should create one public and private subnet. See here, if you can select this VPC and more, it will show you how many subnets it will going to create, how many route tables it is going to create, and what are the other things it will create. See, IGW means here it is internet gateway, and by default it will create some S3 gateway that we can ignore as of now. So this will create all these things if you can select VPC and more. Okay, here also you can see this is project subnet. Let me, yeah, we can just give this name here, otherwise it will take the default name. So I'm just creating Clark AWS. Okay, so whenever I change name here, it will show you the VPC name like our name plus VPC, Clark AWS VPC, and it is showing subnets. See here, it is public subnet, private subnet in 1A region, 1A availability zone. 1A availability zone. We are in Mumbai region, but 1A is the availability zone. Here it will create one public subnet and one private subnet. Even in South 1B, in this availability zone also, it is going to create one public subnet and one private subnet. So this is the best practice. And even route table also, it will create one public route table. See, which will once you place cursor here, it will show you how it connected, the diagram also. So if you can click, if you can have your cursor here, it will show you how many things it is going to create. If you can place any public, cursor here in the public subnet, it will show you the map, the dark blue lines map, how it will connected, right? So see, when I place this public cursor here in the public route table, here RTB means route table, RTB public means public route table. So when I place cursor here, the map is showing like it will connect to two public subnets as well as a internet gateway. Okay, when you select any private route table, see, it will show you this private route table will connect to private subnet of region, availability zone 1A, and it will connect to the S3 gateway. But this S3 gateway we have not discussed yet. So let's leave it as it is. Okay. So this is how it will create, right? Then we have given the name, and here this is the CIDR block which we have discussed earlier, IPv4 CIDR block, if you can see. So we have already discussed what is IPv4, how it will looks like, and how to calculate the CIDR also we have already discussed. And it will show you the how many number of IP address it will get created. By default, it will take this 10.0.0.16. We can change it as per our requirement. I'll give like 24. See, it will show you 256 IP addresses it will generate. Maybe let me just create like 20. See, it will show you how many IP addresses it will get generated. IP range, which we have already discussed. So 4096 IP addresses it will generate if you can give blocks, CICR block size like this, IP range like this. Okay. Also, you can select if it you want to create IPv6 CIDR block also, or you can no IP4 v6 CIDR block, or you want to create you want Amazon to create IPv6 CIDR block. CIDR block. Okay, so as of now I don't want it, and you already aware of what is IPv6, which we have already discussed in previous videos. So if you don't know about IPv4 and IPv6, my request is to go back to our videos, our playlist of this networking, and just go, you will find one individual video where I have explained in depth, in detail, step by step, how to see this IPv4 and IPv6. So you go back there and you can understand, then come back here. Okay, right. So yeah, so we will discuss all these things. So meanwhile, if you are visiting our channel for the first time, please subscribe our channel and like our videos, share our videos to others who are looking for this, and if you have any doubts, comment down in the comment section below. Okay, and we will happy to help you. We will help you very quickly. Okay, yeah. So if you found this video is helpful to you, please like this video and share this video. Subscribe to our channel first thing. Okay, right. So see, yeah. I don't want IPv6 here, so I leave it as default. Number of availability zones, here we have 3 availability zones. So how many availability zones you want to select here? By default, it will be 2. As a best practice also, you need to select 2 availability zones at least to make it high availability. Your instances, which we have already discussed, high availability, what is meant by that. And number of subnets, sorry, number of public subnets, number of private subnets. By default, it will create 2. If you want, you can increase it. Okay, it will segregate that CIDR block accordingly. And you can customize, see, even if you can customize your public and private subnet also. See, by default in AP South 1A, it has taken 1616 IP addresses, each and every availability zone. By default, it will segregate them into 16 IP, 16 IP, 16 IP, 16 IPs. You can even change this. Okay, you can even change this manually to increase or decrease. So I just in the public subnet of South 1A availability zone, I want to create 1024 IP addresses. Remaining, I can leave it as it is, something like that. So based on your requirement, you can select, even you can customize these subnets also. Where even you select this, you will get some doubt like VPC, and when we select VPC and more, how we can I mean manage this subnet IP addresses range, you will get some doubt, right? So this is where you can adjust that sizes. This is where you can mention your subnet's IP addresses range instead of normal VPC CIDR. Okay, so NAT gateway. Here, it will give you option how to create the NAT gateway. See, there is a charge for each NAT gateway. Okay, so whenever you create any NAT gateway, it is applicable. The applicable charges will be there. So if you are doing practice purpose, I mean I suggest you to go with none, because it will chargeable. Okay, so just leave it as it is. And VPC endpoints, it is showing S3 gateway for now. You can just leave it as it is as of now. Okay, and here there will be some options like enable host names, enable DNS resolution, enable DNS host names. DNS is domain naming service. In our overview session, we have already discussed. So you can just leave it as it is. It will create by default. Okay, so here I didn't change much. I have changed the IP address range in my VPC and IP address range of my one of my public subnet. So remaining, I just leave it as it is because it is chargeable. So better don't go with this if you are practicing it. But in real time scenario, your DevOps engineer or maybe you can create this NAT gateway. So I'll just click on create VPC. It is showing valid CIDR block. Okay. It will take 2 tuples, something like that. Okay, let's leave it 16. More number of IP addresses it will create. Must be a valid set. Oh, why it is not valid? Okay, usually we will say 8, 16, 24, something like that. Let me check this. Okay, maybe let's leave it as it is because it will take CIDR overlaps with another subnet. Okay, another subnets are getting overlapped with these IP addresses. Okay, we have selected 5.0 here, right? So 5.0 means it will create multiple, 256 IP addresses where this IP address is also in that range. 16 also will come into that range, right? So that is why it is complaining. Okay, let's say take 16. It is also, oh, sorry, it will overwrite. Right, okay, let's leave it as 28 because we need to calculate accordingly the IP address. As of now, I just selected 10.0.5.0, right? This IP address also we need to calculate accordingly how many IP addresses you need. So this calculation I have already explained in previous video, so I don't want to waste time here. That is why I will go with defaults, but you can change it eventually. So let me create VPC. Why it is showing again? Mhm. So I just leave it 10.0.0.0 only for now because the subnets IP addresses are getting overridden. So that is why I just gave 10.0.0.0/16 only. And you need to observe the details here. So once you click on create VPC, these many things it will create for you. AWS create for you in the behind the scene. Okay, so it will create a VPC and it will create enable DNS host names, DNS resolution, which we have already seen the checkboxes, and it will verifying VPC creation. It is created or not, it will verify. Then it will create an S3 endpoint that we no need actually, but by default it will create. We will discuss this later. And see, it will create create four subnets, two public subnets and two private subnets, and it will create an internet gateway. IGW means internet gateway, and attach internet gateway to the VPC. It will automatically attach that internet gateway created here in this step to the VPC. So this is what we have discussed in our theory video yesterday. I mean in the previous video, right? So we need this internet gateway to be attached to the VPC in order to control the traffic from the outside. So whenever if someone from the outside in the internet want to communicate to the EC2 instance inside the VPC, they need to first go through this internet gateway. So this will be a first gateway. It should be there in the VPC. So that is why it is created internet gateway, and it has attached the internet gateway to the VPC. And then create route table. It got created a route table. Usually it should create two route tables in our picture which we have seen earlier in the map, one private route table and one public route table. So it will create one route table, create the route inside that route table, and associate the route table, this route table should be associated to the both public subnets. If it is a public route table, it will allocate associated to the public subnets. It is a private route table, it will associate to the private subnet, like that it is creating. And then it is verifying route table creation. If it is all good, then it will associate this S3 endpoint with private subnet and route tables. This S3 subnet will be S3 endpoint will be used for private subnets. Internet gateway will be there for public subnets, like that. Okay, right. So you can click on view VPC. Your VPC got created. It will show you the VPC. Your VPC is here. Here, the remaining information will be available for you to check it out. See, main network ACL. Even the NACL also it got created by default one. So it will be not chargeable for us because it is the default one. And see, CIDRs also it will show you. And you can edit this CIDR here in AWS, but in MuleSoft it won't be possible. Okay, so yeah, tags, integrations, this we can ignore as of now. So our VPC got created. Okay, this is how you can create a VPC inside AWS. Okay, now you can create a EC2 instance and you can assign that EC2 instance inside this VPC. We have already seen how to create the EC2 instance, right? So let me just create another EC2 instance to show you how to attach this VPC. Okay, so you can click on launch instance and you can give CLART VPC EC2 to EC2 demo maybe. Now you can select this image, Linux maybe. Okay, and mesh an image, you can leave it as it is for the free tier. Okay, and then instance type also T2 micro, which is free for our free account, so you can just leave it as it is. And key pair, we have already have two different key pairs which we got created, but I removed it earlier. So let me create a new key pair, and as this is the Linux one, I'll go with ppk. Linux ppk new I have created. I'll click on create key pair. What is this key pair and all? We have already seen in our Linux video, so I am not going to explain it again to waste time. So now this is the main thing where you need to pay attention. Network settings. As we have created VPC now we need to edit this network settings, because earlier we have not seen while creating this EC2 instance, we have not seen that. So let's click on edit, and here VPC is required. See, even if you didn't create a VPC in AWS will create a default VPC for you, dummy VPC for you to assign it. So VPC is must to have instances, that you need to remember. And here it is showing default. Now you have your own VPC, right? So instead of this default, you need to select your VPC. Here it is showing Clark AWS VPC. So you need to select that. And once you select this VPC, it will show you what are the different subnets available here. So you can select, you have 4 subnets now, 2 private subnets in availability zone 1A, 2 public subnets. I mean, in both of the availability zones, you have 1 public and 1 private, which means 2 public and 2 private subnets you have. So you can select any subnet here. So as of for the time being, I will select the public subnet of 1B here. Okay, and auto assign public IP, it is by default it is disabled, you need to enable it. Public IP we need it, because to connect to this EC2 instance we have to have this public IP address. Okay, so that's why I selected it. And then next you need to select the security group. Okay, we have already discussed about security group, how it controls the traffic to your EC2 instance. So you can, if you already created, you can selected any existing group. Otherwise, you can just leave it to create security group. EC2 instance, I mean AWS will create you a new security group for you for this particular EC2 instance, and you can modify the inbound rules and outbound rules to control the traffic later on in this same security group. Okay, so security group name, it is showing launch wizard one, but I can just rename it as CLAT. Okay. See, inbound security groups rules. Here also you can add any rules or modify any rule, or else you can just directly go to the security group and you can add it. Here by default it will allow SSH traffic, because it is a Linux instance. It will allow the SSH, and if you want more like HTTP traffic you want to allow, or any other traffic, you can add this here itself, or maybe you can add inbound rules as we have did in our previous video. And configure storage, by default it will come up with 8 GB, as this is the Linux machine. Okay, that you can ignore as it is. And yeah, the things you need to remember here is you need to select that correct VPC and correct subnet which you have created just now. Okay, then click on launch instance. So that's it. Now if you can see this instance, it will show you under which VPC it is created, and this is your public IP address. And also now you can observe the difference. See here the private IPv4 addresses is 10.0.18.93. This is allocated here for this private IP address, and public IP address, as we have selected that enable button, it has added this public IP address here. Okay, right. So see VPC ID also, it will show you your own VPC ID here, and subnet also it will take your subnet as we have selected. And yeah, this is how you can create a VPC inside. Sorry, you can create a VPC and you can create a EC2 instance inside the VPC. You can attach your VPC here like this, which we have done. Okay, so here in the security it will show you the security groups, which we have already seen, right? So inbound rules and outbound rules it will show you. This is a details about this particular EC2 instance. And here mainly in the networking details you will found which availability zone it is created, what is a VPC it got attached, like that. Okay, I hope you got a clear idea about how to create a VPC and how to create an EC2 instance inside the VPC. Like this, in real time also, your DevOps engineer or system engineer, whoever going to work as a AWS contact for you, they will create EC2 instances for you, and they will create they will create EC2 instances. They will attach the EC2 instance inside the VPC for you so that you can use it. So this is how you can create a VPC. If you are a developer, you don't need to do all this setup. If you are a DevOps engineer, you must learn all these things. Okay, right. So why it is not showing any running instances? Here one instance is running, right? Okay, so I hope this video is helpful for you to create the VPC and to create EC2 instance inside the VPC. So if you like this video, if you learn something out of this video, please like this video and share this video to others. And please do subscribe our channel. I have observed that you are watching our videos and you have not subscribed yet because it is showing subscriber count very less. Okay, so please make sure you subscribe our channel so that it will encourage us to do more tutorials free in both languages for you. Okay, right. Thank you so much. I'll delete this instance under VPC. If you want, you can see this as well, because as we are using free tier one, right? So every time if you done your practice, you are done with your practice, it's better to terminate your instance and it's better to delete all the resources which you have created. Otherwise it will be chargeable for you if it exceeds the free, I mean, yeah, free, that one, free account limitations. If it is exceeded that, it will be chargeable for you. So to avoid unnecessary charges, once you are done with your practice, please remember to remove all these things which you have created. Now I have created a VPC, I have created EC2 instance, right? I have terminated the EC2 instance. Now I'll remove this VPC also. So once you delete your VPC, this is default VPC, don't delete anything. Okay, because if you delete this default VPC, you will not use it will not allow to AWS will not allow to use any EC2 instance for you, because VPC is must. Okay, so you can just remove your own VPC, just leave the default VPC as it is. How you can differentiate between your own VPC and default one is very simple. While creating your VPC, you have given your name, right? So just select that and delete. Okay, so once you delete these things, it will create all the subnets, all the internet gateway, everything it has created for you. So will also be deleted. It will show you the list here. So yeah. This got minimized. So you need to type delete here, so it will delete everything which it has created. Okay, see private South A, this private, this public route table, internet gateway, and this private subnet, public subnet, everything it has created as part of VPC, it will delete everything. So you don't need to worry about how I can delete multiple things manually one by one. You can just delete your VPC, it will take care of it. So yeah, it is not showing anything. And what about this subnets? It is already showing earlier because these are all the default ones. Okay, route tables also the default one. See, if you want to see what is there inside the route table, you can just click on it. It will show you the destination and target. Earlier we missed to see that, right? So here the target means here it is showing internet gateway, so it will allow all the traffic 0.0.0.0/0 means it will allow all the traffic through this internet gateway. and inside this internet gateway also you can see, and you can edit also this one. I mean, this is the default one, you cannot do it. I deleted my VPC, right? So if you create your VPC, then just to go through these all these things also, you can go to subnets and open all the subnets one by one and see how the it looks like. And inside the route table, inside the internet gateway, just open it and just play around with this. I mean, don't edit anything, but just see what are the things available here, what are the information, what are the configuration available here, so you will get more details out of it. Okay, right. Yeah, I hope this video is helpful to you. Please do subscribe, share and like our videos, and comment out if you have any doubts. Just please comment down in the comment section below. I'm very happy to help you. Okay, thank you, thanks for watching. Bye bye.